He's such opportunity. The left hand, the right hand over the top.
The Destroyer, Ben. And it's a blessing to be fighting back on British soil.
Is there a high level of respect between you and Junior now?
I mean, I wish him well. You know, I know he's gone to the hospital. I've heard he's got a broken jaw.
There you go, beating him. And you know, see, Eubank, Chris was spiteful in that ring, if you can tell. He could knock him out anytime he wanted, but he didn't want to. Just fucking using the jab and it's hurting him and it's hurting him.
How the emotions after that, mate? Just unbelievable. I mean, honestly, what I saw there, I can't even bother to moan about the scorecards because I couldn't be prouder. I mean, listen, I know me and Junior have had our ups and downs, but unbelievable respect to him. But for my man, Conor Benn, you've just seen the beginning, in my opinion, of one of the biggest stars in British boxing, the people's champion. And for all the rubbish he's been through over the last couple of years, and I know how good and clean this kid's heart is, to see him, you know, I don't think he's quite aware yet of the response.
Competitive all the way through. On edge of your seat, we're good.
Were you impressed by Conor because ultimately he was the lighter fighter in there tonight?
Yeah, you know, Eubank is no Golovkin. You know what I mean? You could see the weight. He started to look tired, but you know, Conor had that energy. You know, moving up the weight, he had more energy inside him. But you know what I mean? Equal the match. You know what I mean? It lived up to the hype, and you know what I mean? They didn't let the fans down.
Who won the fight, Conor?
You may have won the fight, but you're the one in hospital, not me.
If you take a man's soul, that usually means you win the fight.
You won the fight.
I've never seen someone's soul get taken and they still win.
So I look at you now and you ain't the same.
The truth is we both ended up in hospital and you know, I was there for dehydration and you were there for the...
How much weight did you put on after the weigh-in?
Listen,
after the weigh-in,
we're not going to get into weight talks.
Speaking beforehand, Jones Jr., who has trained Eubank in the past, told TalkSport that he's leaning toward his former fighter. However, one clean shot from Benn could end everything, even with Benn moving up in weight. I feel Eubank is clearly the bigger, more seasoned man. But you can never overlook Benn's ability to finish a fight with a single punch. If Benn connects just once, then who knows what could unfold. I favor Eubank. Yet Benn is coming up from 140, he said.
I think he's coming because of the size.
Yeah. Is that his best route to victory, just to impose himself?
Yeah.
It's a very tough matchup for Conor. I'm not saying he can't win, Roy Jones Jr. told TalkSport, but it's going to be a difficult one. In my view, his biggest opportunity comes from landing a huge shot and hoping it doesn't get absorbed. It's a tough task. Chris is a much improved fighter. He strengthened his fundamentals and elevated his overall game. He'll be extremely hard to beat for anyone, especially a smaller opponent. But we did see Liam Smith pull it off, and I'm sure that gave Benn a lot more confidence that he might do the same. It's shaping up to be a great fight. Still, I believe Chris holds the advantages, simply because he's the bigger man.
Chris Eubank's looking at Conor Benn, he's talking to him, he's thinking to himself, when do I splat this egg around the side of his head? When do I do it? How do I do it? Do I put it in his face? Do I put it on his head? Is he going to see me? Because if Conor would have seen him, he might have blocked it and check-hooked him. But it was quick. He distracted Conor by saying, what did you say? Then he reached for the egg and he clattered him right around the side of the back of the ear and the face. And the egg yolk went everywhere. A lot of the yolk missed him, so it wasn't that embarrassing where he's dribbling with egg yolk.
Froch knows exactly what it feels like to face a bitter rival after a long, heated build-up. His first clash with George Groves became just that, as the young challenger managed to get under the champion's skin with constant mind games before the opening bell. Not long after the fight began, Froch was dropped by a heavy right hand and later admitted he had underestimated Groves. He ultimately won by a controversial stoppage, then secured a far more convincing victory in their iconic rematch at Wembley. Eubank has already rattled Benn by smashing an egg in his face during the opening press conference, a nod to one of the excuses tied to Benn's failed drug test before their originally scheduled bout in October 2022. Eubank will also hold a size advantage on fight night, having competed as high as super middleweight against current or former world champions such as Groves, James DeGale, and Arthur Abraham. Meanwhile, Ben will be moving up 2 weight divisions to face him in this April 26th contest.
Eubank, you've got to say, is a wide favourite. He's boxed George Groves. He's been in there with
Arthur Abraham.
These are big punching super middles. Do you know what I mean? And his punch resistance might not be what it once was, and might not be the fighter he once was. I'd say he probably is a little bit sharp, but Conor Benn hasn't beaten anyone or fought anyone of the stature of the people that he's performed against, has he, Eubank? If you look at his resume, it's...
The wins against Arthur Abraham and James DeGale as super middle as well.
Speaking from his own experience, Frock, who once shared the ring with the Cobra, sided with a bigger, more seasoned fighter. When you look at all the variables, who has done what, who is the bigger and stronger man, who holds world-level experience, you have to say Chris Eubank Jr. He's operated at a higher standard, even at heavier weights, and he genuinely belongs at world-level status. Conor Benn, on the other hand, hasn't achieved that yet. Yes, he blasted out Chris Algieri, a former champion, and looked impressive doing it, but Algieri was far past his prime. So if I'm choosing my immediate favorite for this matchup, I'm going with Chris Eubank Jr.
Exactly. And then the close loss to Billy Joe Saunders, but the loss to Liam Smith, that was such a bad loss, but he rectified it, wasn't it?
But he rectified it in the rematch, and and Liam's a good fighter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true. He was a good fighter. And in the rematch, he was dead himself, wasn't he? He was fucked himself. Do you think that he's a heavy favourite, or do you think he's a slight favourite?
I think he's a heavy favourite. I don't see what you can base, unless you're just going on like hype or something. But I don't see what you can't. I don't see what you can. You got to look at facts, haven't you?
Former world champion Amir Khan also sided with size, giving the edge to the fighter who holds the weight advantage.
I've initially started off with Chris, even though I wasn't impressed with his last fight, even though I think the inactivity of Conor for the last 15 months might affect it, even though I think he's the older fight of the two. I'm siding towards Chris, but I'm going to wait until the weigh-in and give you my definitive answer when I see them both on the scales and see what they look like.
Same question.
Khan said, "A couple of weeks ago, I was backing Conor to win. I felt he would be the aggressor. But after looking more closely at the size difference, and realizing he's not going up just 1 weight class, but possibly 2, I had to reconsider. Weight classes exist for a reason. And even though I moved up to face Canelo, I understand the impact that kind of jump has. Of course, Chris Eubank isn't Canelo, but I still believe Eubank has far more weight, more power, more strength, plus the height and size advantage over Conor Benn. So now, I've got Eubank winning that fight." Ben Shalom, Chris Eubank's promoter, also predicted a victory for his fighter, calling for a stoppage in round 5 or 6. Shalom said it would be a firefight, explaining, "These two don't fight off the back foot. They're not technical boxers. They're at their best when they're trading. They're fighters."
Trained very hard, so I'm worried for Conor Benn. Chris Eubank Jr. is hard to get completely locked in, let's be honest. We've seen it on occasion. He is ready. He has had a fantastic camp. He is training for this properly. He's had a great camp with Jonathan Banks. He stayed in London. He's not gone anywhere. And he's ready to put on a demolition job.
"I think their egos are too big for either of them to fight off the back foot. They're going to meet in the center of the ring, and it'll be an all-out shootout. It's not just their names, not just the storyline, not even the animosity, it's their styles. This matchup guarantees chaos from the opening round." Shalom is so confident in his fighter that he's willing to accept a £1 million bet proposed by Ben's promoter, Eddie Hearn. "He made that bet with me," Shalom said. "If you speak to him, make sure he sticks to it, because now he seems to be backing out. If he didn't want the bet, I don't know why he brought it up in the first place. He made the bet."
Making for a fantastic fight, but yeah, Chris is Chris.
The people's champion is Michael Watson. He always has been. During our time in the 90s, he was the people's champion. So where are these people today? Stand up for him by not going along with the nonsense and the circus that's been created for this farce of a fight, which is between one fighter who is at 2 or 3 weights above the smaller guy.
There have been questions about whether such a bet is even legal, as British Boxing Board of Control license holders, both Shalom and Hearn in their roles as promoters, are not permitted to wager on fights they are directly involved in. Shalom, however, insists he has been given approval to proceed with the bet. I've been told I can do it. We can do it. He's the one backing out now, but he's a big boy with plenty of money, so he should stand by it, Shalom said. He made the bet, and he should keep his word. We should get it on. An 18-foot ring would, in theory, make it more difficult for Eubank Jr. to box and move, as he has in recent bouts, and make it easier for the explosive Benn to close the distance and land heavy shots. Shalom, however, believes Eubank Jr. will meet Benn head-on this Saturday.
It's above the smaller guy. The smaller guy in Conor Benn he has had his career destroyed for one guy. Because once you go up to 160, going down to fight, then at 147, it doesn't work. These rules are in place to provide a rail for him for his career. My son coming down from 168 to 160 puts his life in danger because I know what it is. I know what it is.
Benn's greatest hope is that Eubank's attempts to meet the weight requirements leave him unusually drained and unable to fully capitalize on his physical advantages. The younger fighter may look for an early stoppage, much like Liam Smith achieved in 2023 when he caught Eubank cold. With Eubank holding the height advantage and aiming to manage the distance, Benn will have to close the gap, stay active, and attack the body on the inside. Although we expect him to lose, he may finish the fight having thrown more punches than Eubank. Regardless, both Benn and Eubank have chosen to cement their names into a transgenerational rivalry, and they've done so in dramatic fashion. That's all for now. For the latest updates on news, moments, events, and action in the boxing world, stay connected by subscribing to our YouTube channel. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss our quality content. Until next time, peace.